Thanks to ASUS for sponsoring this video. Windows laptops are heading in the right direction. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at gaming laptops, for example, like this awesome TUF A14, you can check out the video right over here. I've already posted it. Phenomenal value, great performance, and also brings a lot of the efficiency aspect into a attainable price point. Whereas if you look at something that's just super lightweight, portable, you still have options from ASUS. So this is their Zenbook S14. It features Intel's Lunar Lake processor, which is supposed to offer incredible power efficiency. This actually is an early engineering sample that I just received about a week ago. So I've been playing around with this thing just to get a feel for it. And I wanted to just share my first impressions with you guys just to see what the overall experience has been. But definitely stay tuned for our full review, which is coming very shortly. But man, the design, the form factor, just the premium aspect of what you get with this device is pretty awesome. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Now, the first thing I noticed as soon as I picked up the S14 is its incredible form factor. It's only 0.47 inches thin and it weighs roughly 2.6 pounds, which is honestly, it feels like a paperweight. So this can easily fit inside a backpack. You can take this thing to school or business meeting or cafe and not worry about the fact that you're carrying an enormous machine with you every day you go. So that's awesome. But on top of that, you're also getting incredible build quality. So first off, we have to talk about this finish over here. So ASUS actually calls it Ceraluminum, which essentially is a transformation process where they put this thing in some special chambers that transforms the aluminum lid into a ceramic-like finish, which not only gives it a premium like stone-like finish, but it just prevents this thing from, attracting fingerprints, and also it's scratch resistant. So you do get that durability aspect. On top of that, you also get this monogram logo that's just stretched across the lid, which adds a nice style. And you have a little Zenbook logo that's tucked away right in the corner. So from a design standpoint, it's very minimal. You can pick this thing in two colors. The first option is Scandinavian white. The other one is this Zumaya gray, which I have right over here, which again looks very cool, but personally, I'm gonna get that white model. Now, the brains powering the S14 is, of course, Intel's latest Lunar Lake architecture. So this is their Core Ultra Series 2 or 200V series of processors, which succeeds the Meteor Lake architecture. And this is a completely ground up design for Intel, and it's supposed to deliver efficiency. That's what they're aiming for. So it is a system-on-chip design, which includes all the CPU cores, including the P cores and the E cores. So you get the updated Xe2 GPU, which is supposed to bring incredible gaming performance to this architecture. You also have the NPU with up to 48 TOPS, and the memory is soldered onto this chip, which unfortunately does take away the accessibility aspect when it comes to upgrading the memory later down the line. But the positive side is that it allowed Intel and ASUS to work together to create a motherboard design that's shorter and smaller that they can fit in the chassis, but also gives ASUS to sort of put a lot of other things into the chassis, like a bigger battery. In this case, it has a 72 watt-hour battery, which is pretty impressive considering how thin and small this laptop is. Take a look at the interior space. You can see that it comes with a standard size keyboard. Now, these keys feature 1.1 millimeters of key travel, and it's a pretty nice setup to work on emails and things like that. As you can see, it does come with the standard white LED backlighting, and it's pretty legible even in a bright lit space. And the touchpad is a glass surface, but ASUS has actually added a hydrophobic coating on top of it, which prevents it from getting fingerprints. I've been using this thing for almost a week, and I honestly, as you can see, can't tell if there are any fingerprints. ASUS has also implemented some smart gestures within this trackpad, and I think it comes in clutch, and I've used it a couple of times. So for instance, on the left-hand side, you can use this border right here to adjust the volume output of the speakers. And on the right-hand side, you can adjust the display brightness output, which is pretty convenient. And then the middle portion over here allows you to skip videos within any media player. So for instance, if I'm playing a YouTube video like this Peter McKinnon's Bucket Shot 2 video that just dropped a couple days ago, I could just use this to skip the video. And, I think that's pretty awesome. Now, while we're on the topic of entertainment, I just want to quickly talk about the sound system built into the S14. So they are not front-facing. You shouldn't confuse the geometric grill design for that. But instead, ASUS did implement them on the side over here. So you have two woofers and two tweeters. And this is what the webcam looks and sounds like. Now, obviously, the quality is going to vary between the pre-production model that I have over here and the production model that is going to be rolled out later into retail stores. But ASUS has also implemented a few handy little functions like a quick mic mute button and a camera shutter button with LED indicators, just letting you know that they're activated. And it's very nice, tucked away into the function drawer. Highly appreciate that. The other surprising factor on the S14 is the number of ports that ASUS was able to cram inside this super slim chassis. So on the left-hand side, you get a full-size HDMI port, along with 2 Thunderbolt 4 Type-C ports and an audio jack, which is very nice to see because we're starting to see a lot of notebook manufacturers who are pushing for that thin form factor, eliminate that feature. But I'm glad to see ASUS not remove that. And then on the right-hand side, you get a full-size USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-A port. I mean, they've really tried to maximize every inch of this laptop, and that to me is pretty awesome. Now, I also want to quickly talk about this included 65-watt power adapter. It is super compact, but on the other hand, it is a very short cable. So if you are a student and if you need access to a wall plug in a lecture room, you might have a little bit of trouble. But that being said, supposedly these new Lunar Lake laptops are supposed to give you better battery life. So we'll have to test that out in our full review, so stay tuned for that. But I do find this super easy and convenient when you're especially traveling in an airplane where you just need access to a plug if those airplane wall plugs ever work. But if it does, this is a very quick, convenient way to just charge your laptop. There are going to be 2 models of the Zenbook S14. The base model starts at $1399 USD, which is going to feature the Core Ultra 7 256V processor paired with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Remember, this is an SoC design, so the memory comes with the chip. You also get a terabyte SSD. And then the next tier is $100 more, which comes with twice the memory, but the rest of the configuration remains pretty much identical. Now, in order to push these chips to 28 watts, ASUS had to go back to the drawing board and redesign their cooling system, because if you think about it, right, this is a 0.47-inch chassis. So they had to design an ultra slim vapor chamber cooling system along with designing these really unique geometric grille designs that you see in the front. And this not only boosts the airflow, but it also helps maintain a quieter noise level. So we'll definitely have to check it out and test it out. Obviously, because it's a pre-production sample, I can't run a lot of my tests here, but for the most part, from my day-to-day usage, I haven't actually noticed these fans ramp up as often, and they're fairly quiet. I was able to edit some photos from a recent shoot that I did, and it handled that without any issues. And to add to that, I actually enjoyed editing photos on this display. So this is a 14-inch 2.8K Lumina OLED 120Hz panel. It has the ability to switch to 60Hz dynamically to preserve battery life. Out of the box, it comes shipped with 60 Hz enabled, so I had to go into the settings to switch that to 120 Hz to get that buttery smooth experience. But everything being said, the color accuracy, the vibrancy, the brightness output, they're all superb for anything photo editing, or even if you want to get into a little bit of content creation. It's a really nice panel to work with. The only thing is that it's a highly reflective panel, as you can see. That's the only thing that you might have to get used to if you're planning to use this thing outdoors quite a lot. So that's my first impressions with the Zenbook S14. Obviously, stay tuned for our full review because Lunar Lake is definitely a very interesting architecture, and I think it's exactly what Intel needed at this point because the competition is getting very, very strong right now. And yeah, I'm excited to put this thing to my paces. I'm just waiting for the production model so I can run my complete tests. But until then, stay tuned for our full review. I'm Eber with Hardware Canucks. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.